for those that are doing it, but you don't have to do the challenge, right? This is totally free. We're gonna learn all about good things tonight. So look at Bonnie. I think Bonnie's up here somewhere. You will be, Bonnie, but not the, but not your final picture. So yeah, lots of people have done challenges with me. So I've been doing nutrition coaching for 10 years plus now. So I'm level 2 precision nutrition certified. So it's an exercise nutrition coach. It's all about behavior change and how to live sustainably more than, and depending on where you are at in your journey, that's where we start you at, and then we work from there. So lots of people are in different stages of their journey. So this is mostly about how to make time for exercise and nutrition, right? Many people know what to do, right? We can Google search, we can use ChatGPT, you can get all sorts of stuff, right? Did you start play? Did you play?
Yes.
Oh, I'm in the wrong spot. Sorry. So you can ChatGPT, you can search it on the internet, you can find lots of ways and information, right? Information is overload now, but it's hard to know how we create real change and how to narrow that down. Then I'll be on the sunshine. So, but there's even a lot of people using GLP-1 these days, and coaching is even more important when you're on that stuff, not just when you're, I shouldn't say stuff, like it's a very helpful tool for some people, right? So what do we need to learn and use every day when we do nutrition coaching and when we want to change our habits? And when things go off track, remember it's not the end, that's part of the process. So most people fail, not because they're lazy, they fail because they rely on motivation instead of systems and support. Motivation fades, and so it's important to know your why. Okay, why keeps you going when things are hard? Ask yourself, what do you really want? Why does it matter? What changes if I succeed? And what happens if nothing changes? Most people stop at, I want to lose weight. But weight loss is not usually the why. The real why is often more energy, confidence, health, longevity, being present with your family, less pain, or feeling like yourself again. For example, ask yourself why. Why do I want to lose weight? Why do I need more energy? Why am I tired all the time? And why does that matter? I feel that I want to be present with my kids, but I don't feel that way. I want to feel like I'm living life fully again. That's the real why, and that's what keeps us going, right? The weight loss may be the initial reason why, but then we have to break it down into what is the real reason why. So I want you to break out your papers now, and I want you to take a minute. I want to write down your why. Write down your goal, right? Could be lose weight, could be feel stronger, have more energy, improve confidence, reduce pain. Now when you have your why, I want you to break it down deeper. I want you to say, why does this matter? Right? So write down your next why. Why does this goal really matter to me? Why do I want to lose weight? Why do I want to be present with my kids? Why do I want to be able to get off of a chair when I'm 70 years old? What would change if you achieved that goal? Ask yourself, why does that matter? Another question, how would you feel different if that changed? How would you feel different if you achieved that goal? Write down what your goal is and why does that matter. So we went over this, and it's, most people say, I want to lose weight or I want to feel stronger, but why do you? Do you want more energy? Do you want to keep up with your kids? The surface goal will not carry you through your hard days, right? Motivation will not carry you through, right? But understanding your why and digging in deep to your why will carry you through those hard days. Does anybody want to share their why? Or their initial goal? Bonnie?
As I age, I want to be able to do what I want to do. I don't want to get stuck in, I'll just watch TV, you know. I want to be able to go and do things and feel good and have the energy to sustain being active.
It's a great goal. Right? Anybody else? Monica?
For me, I struggle with inflammation when I don't eat the right foods. And so then it limits what I'm able to do at the end of the day with my kids. And so I want to reduce that inflammation and still have that energy at the end of the day and not just the first half.
Fantastic, thanks for sharing. Yeah, so reducing inflammation by eating the right foods. Inflammation holds us back a lot, right? Anyone else? No pressure. All right, so I also want you to think about your future. What does it look like 6 months from now if you stayed consistent with a plan? I want you to write that down. What is your goal, or what would you see? How would you feel? What would it look like 6 months from now if you were consistent with your exercise, if you were consistent with your nutrition plan? How would your energy change, your confidence, your health, your ability to show up for your family? And then I want you to ask yourself, what happens if you do nothing? What happens if you keep doing the same thing that you're doing now? Anybody's goal changed in 6 months? You don't have to say specifically, but did it change? Yeah? Do you think it would stay the same if you didn't do anything at all?
Guess you just look in the mirror.
What's that?
You don't do anything at all, just look in the mirror now, right?
Right, you'll stay the same, right? Or sometimes regress, right?
Yeah.
And go back to maybe some unhealthy behaviors. Okay, so now we're gonna talk about priorities, right? Priorities are huge. There's like big rocks, there's little rocks, there's pebbles, right? We fill our jars with what our priorities are, right? We need to think about what's most necessary and what will help us be most prepared on our journey. And of course, this looks different for everyone, okay? Before we focus on perfection, advantages, or strategies, we need to ask what matters most. The big rocks are the habits that create the biggest impact, right? Time with our friends, our health, earning a living, getting enough sleep, okay? Maybe walking, strength training, meal prep, stress management, all of those things. Everyone's priorities look different because everybody's life looks different. Most people get overwhelmed trying to change everything at once. And so instead, if we just focus on the habits that matter, that move the needle the most, that small rocks, because the small rocks still matter, right? We still want to enjoy our life. We still want to have hobbies. We still want to excel at work. Sometimes some people want to be competitive athletes or have passions they want to work on. Those pebbles still matter, right? So we want to be able to fill our life with those big rocks, but also fill our life with some of the things that create joy. So what do you think your biggest rocks are right now in your life? Anyone?
Do you want us to write that or say it out
I
loud?
want you to say it. What are your biggest rocks, Monica?
Well, I mean, basically what's up there, but time with my family and my health would probably be the top two.
Yes. Health would be a big rock, right? Family. Any other big rocks?
Getting enough sleep.
Sleep is super important. Yeah. Sleep can affect a lot of things. Sleep affects hunger signals, it affects like our mood, it affects performance, it affects a lot of things. Hormones. else?
Don't be shy, you guys.
Trying to make this not so boring. Interactive here. All right, okay, now I want you to write down what's your priorities, okay? What is your big rocks? One thing that you're maybe currently not doing that you think would make the biggest impact in your change. Maybe it's meal prep. Maybe it is consistency. Maybe it's nutrition. Stress is huge too, right? Reducing stress. And I want you to think about starting there, right? So that could be the one thing that you start on to change. All right, next is systems, okay? We can fly by the night, and you can like go day by day, right? Convenience food, things like that, right? But if you have a system and you plan and you prepare for success, it's all about systems, right? Motivation, like I said, is fleeting, it won't last long. But if you have systems and you're prepared and you plan ahead, then you're bound to find success. The easier we make healthier choices, the more likely we are to stay consistent. Planning meals ahead removes decision fatigue. Prepping foods ahead of time makes healthy eating more convenient, and your environment matters too. Because if you have something in your house that is dangerous or maybe a red light food, who do you think is gonna eat it? Right? You or someone you love, right? That stay there often. So if it's not there, what happens? We don't eat it. Okay? So sometimes we don't rise to the level of our motivation. We fail because of the level of our systems. So I want you to ask, what's one system that maybe you can improve on? Sometimes our lives are busy, and I highly, highly recommend like signing up for a meal box or having somebody meal prep for you. If you don't have the time and maybe you have the money, then just have somebody meal prep for you. I've done that for years. So veggies, or I mean, you can keep berries and veggies in your freezer and blend up a smoothie, and it's super fast. You can even blend up 10 at one time. Well, I have a big blender. I blend up a lot of time, and I freeze my smoothies, and then I just bring them with me, so I don't have to think about it. So there's lots of ways to make it convenient to eat healthy. And then, like I said, reduce or eliminate those treat foods that you find in your pantry that are easy to eat and convenient because you have other choices prepared.
How long will a smoothie last in the freezer?
Like any other frozen food, right? You probably want to eat it within a month so you don't get frostbite or that, you know, yeah. I feel bad. Do you want another chair so you're not in the sun, Wendy?
Oh, no, I'm
You okay?
Thank you.
All right. Okay, so now I want you to think every week, or if you're in the challenge, we're going to be reflecting weekly or bi-weekly, right? So progress doesn't come from perfection. It comes from being willing to reflect and adjust on that. Okay, every week you're going to ask what worked, what didn't work, what can I improve? Reflection removes your emotion and it creates awareness. Systems and data help you be aware of what you are doing, right? Small adjustments over time create that awareness and that momentum. And coaching, when you have a support system, can help you remove blind spots and keep you focused on progress instead of perfection. Okay, but remember that reflection is not punishment, it's feedback. Okay, so when you're tracking food or you're writing down, you know, and you're like, some people are like, oh, I failed this week. I'm like, did you fail though? Did you? No, we learned, right? We learned something, and let's move on and find the bright spots, right? Let's find the wins so that we can keep going forward with success. So what is one thing that usually throws you guys off track? When you're trying to do something healthy and you're changing your system and your beliefs and your habits, right? What's one thing that usually throws you off? Michelle?
Skipping meals.
Skipping meals. I can throw you off.
Having like a stressful day or two in a row.
Stress, for sure,
That
can throw you off.
interrupts your system.
Yeah.
Having a baby.
Having a baby. Yes. Life changes, babies,
Yes.
marriage.
That'll
right?
definitely do it.
Moving, New jobs, right?
Work schedules?
Work schedules, right? Especially if they're like fluctuating or you have a job where there's like no end. It's like when the job's done.
Maycember.
Maycember. December and Maycember.
all the events, all
All the events that
things.
happen with parents, right, and kids during May.
And teenagers who bring lots of junk food into the house.
And this is what's gonna be a challenge for me, but I feel like then the lack of schedule in the summer, and with kids home.
Yes,
is-
kids are home and they throw you off, you're used to this like set routine.
Yeah,
Send them off to
that-
school and I have my day, now
Yeah.
I'm home all day. Yes, for sure. And what about the weekends, right? That can be hard for some people too, right? There's like, I'm busy at work all week long, or some people it's the opposite, they're like, I'm so busy at work all week long that I don't have time to prepare. So the weekends are super important to do that. So, all right. All right, so now we're gonna talk about, portion control, right? Portion control is one of the biggest nutrition challenges is underestimating how much we eat, okay? Most people are not intentionally overeating, but portions, snacks, drinks, and mindless eating add up quickly. The goal is not obsession, the goal is learning, okay? Different tools work for different people. Hand portions, photo tracking, habit tracking, and apps like MyFitnessPal or Macros First. The best systems is the one that you can follow consistently, right? Not everybody loves to track their food. Who loves to track their food all the time? I did it for like 15 years. Not consistently. I did it for years and then I had a baby and then I did it and then I had a baby. So I did it though for lots of years, right? I know it's tedious, okay? But research shows that most people underestimate their food intake by 30 to 50% if you're not tracking your food. But we need those nutritional guidelines. Tracking is not the only way to be able to moderate or manage your food or understand how much you're eating. But it is the initial way to understand. And for someone else to see and help, it's a very useful tool. And for you to understand and see what you're eating. And over time, you'll understand what it looks like for a balanced plate, and then be able to do it sustainably and maybe even mindfully without tracking. Does that make sense? Some people like plate portion guides, or some people like using their hand portion guides. Some people write it on paper. I've done that, right? We've written it on paper before, and that works great too. It's just, and some people like to weigh and measure everything, and it works well for them. And so everybody has a different way of tracking their food, but especially with this nutrition challenge, or if you're working with a coach, tracking your food is super helpful to help you learn, as well as your coach to understand and help you.
What's in the purple?
The purple, it says dessert.
Or after exercise.
Or for after exercise, yes. Because why is dessert good after exercise? Or is yes, carbs, simple carbs are best right after exercise because it goes right to your muscle glycogen, like straight there, and helps you rebuild and replenish that muscle glycogen. So it's fantastic right after workout.
So I need to have a cookie after I work out.
Yes.
If you're going to have it that day, have it after your workout.
6 in the morning is a little early.
You can have a bowl of cereal first thing in the
I'm
morning.
not gonna lie though, if there's cookies in my house when I get home in the morning, that I do have one right after my workout.
I have to. But cold cereal after workout, I think is phenomenal. Like chocolate milk helps too, right? You have your protein and your carbs. It's great for athletes right after recovery, so. Okay, all right. Like we said, tracking, right? We gotta use the right tool for the job. There's lots of ways, and it depends on what your goal is. So that's why it's super important to know your goal, because everybody is gonna be different, right? You need to ask yourself, what is my goal? Different goals require levels of precision. If you look at this chart, it says the first person, their goal is to eat, move, and live better, right? So what are they gonna do? They're gonna use mindful eating and intuitive eating. They're going to use the PN portion guide, right? They're gonna use hand portion guides, which is something that I use a lot. Those other people that wanna reach high level performance, or you wanna drop body fat, or you wanna change body composition, and you wanna get really technical with that, then that's when we have to do a little bit more tracking, right? We have to do a little bit more detail in what you're eating. Those that wanna reach those aesthetic outcomes, right? If you wanna be a bodybuilder, if you wanna like see your six pack, you wanna do all that, then you have to do extreme things to be able to do that. And sometimes it means like bringing your food with you wherever you go. And it's not eating with your family, so you have to remember the sacrifices, right? If you wanna reach those extreme outcomes. But like I said, the tools help us understand, help us stay honest, and helps us understand what we're eating. Now we're gonna talk about macronutrients. I know this has a lot of words on it, a lot of words. It's one slide, I put a lot of information on because I want you to understand macronutrients, right? So I'm sure you all have heard protein, carbs, fats, vegetables. Vegetables are very important for micronutrients, okay? That is a micronutrient, not a macronutrient. Protein, carbs, and healthy fats are macronutrients. They're essential for our body for different reasons, right? Protein helps repair and rebuild muscles. But if you don't eat carbs with your protein, what happens? It doesn't work as effectively, okay? And then we have healthy fats. Healthy fats are essential for hormone regulation, brain health, joint health, hair and skin health, and help reduce inflammation. So if you're not eating omegas, if you're not eating the right kinds of fats, then you will have a higher inflammation rate. Especially women, as we age, we need that for our hormones. And then we've got carbohydrates. Remember, carbohydrates are not bad. A lot of people think carbs are bad. They're not bad. There's good, better, and best, right? So there's food that fuels you, and then there's food that fuels you better, okay? Food is fuel. So the goal is not restriction, the goal is balance, consistency, and learning how to fuel your body properly. And everybody will always have different levels of macronutrients, but as far as protein goes, we always start at 30% of our daily value. So 30% of your total calorie intake, okay? And then we adjust carbs and fats. Some people thrive on low fats, high carbs, and some people thrive on high fats and low carbs. But we don't ever want to be under 25% carbohydrates, because then that's when we start to lose energy, we get brain fog, and lots of other things happen. So. All right, and then now we're going to talk about exercise. Is exercise about weight loss?
I mean, it can.
Can be, right? But like we talked about, what's our real goal, right? Exercise helps preserve muscle mass while still losing body fat. Exercise helps you assist in the weight loss process, but what do you think is the initial outcome for what do you need to do for weight loss? What do you need to change? Nutrition, yeah, right? Nutrition is really where the weight loss happens, right? Exercise is gonna help you maintain your muscle mass, it's gonna keep you stronger, it's going to boost your metabolism, energy, confidence, builds bone density. If you're getting into, if you're getting older, ladies, we get into osteopenia, osteoporosis, so we need to make sure we're fighting that with heavy lifting. It helps reduce pain and improves daily function, and it creates long-term results instead of temporary fixes. The more muscle mass we have, the more calories we burn, and the better we look too. Muscle mass is denser than fat, right? And so we'll actually be slimmer than we are without muscle. So, and remember that exercise, I always have to stress this, right? We don't punish our bodies with exercise. Exercise helps us stay strong, right? There was a time where people thought that they had to exercise more because otherwise and so they could eat more. We have to change that mindset. All right, and then we have community, right? Accountability. So accountability is everything. Because motivation is temporary, community and accountability help you stay consistent when motivation fades. Okay, support helps remove isolation, and coaching removes the guesswork and gives you structure and direction. Your environment matters more than motivation. Most people fail because not because they're incapable, but they fail because they try to do it alone. Right? How many times have you guys tried to do something alone? Lots. Lots. And how long does it last? Not long? Yeah. I've tried to do things alone. It gets boring. There's a reason why I opened this gym. So, okay. All right, so now we're gonna imagine ourselves 90 days from now. I want you to imagine yourself with more energy, more confidence, better habits. We're not starting over every Monday, right? We're like, I'm gonna do better this week. Okay? We're gonna start over every day if we have to, but we're gonna get it going, right? Okay? And then we have strength training and sustainable nutrition. It's not like I'm all in or all out. And then there's accountability, coaching, and community space, education that teaches you how to maintain your results, and real life balance. Because who has a simple schedule? Whose life is like, oh, I can just, some of us might be because you're retired and you're like in that point, but a lot of us are like super busy. We have work, we have kids, we have grandkids, we have all the other things that we have to do, right? Because we need a plan that's built for long-term success and not just temporary results. And that's what separates us from different challenges. We're not like, let's cut our carbs so we lose all that body weight, all that water, all that water in the first 2 weeks, right? And muscle mass and all the other things, but that's how they're losing weight so fast, is because they're cutting out all the carbs. So. All right, so now I'm gonna go over the challenge a little bit. Do you guys have any questions so far before I go over this? No? Okay, so the challenge, it comes with bi-weekly coaching meetings. So we'll be meeting next week for our first one. We'll do an EVO body scan. So the body scan will measure your body fat, your muscle mass, water, and all sorts of other factors, give us a baseline of macronutrients. And then we'll have, every day there will be a habit, or not a habit, there will be an education inside your app, so daily education inside the app, so you'll wanna make sure you check in every day in My Coach. If you're not in My Coach yet, I'll add you. I just added you too. Did you get the text message? Fantastic. And then there's a private My Coach community, so inside My Coach, there's a community at the bottom that says FITT for Summer. In there is where there's gonna be a lot of like interaction. So every week, you're gonna be asked to post something in there that's related to the topic that we're talking about that week, okay? And then we wanna take pictures, right? Because we like to see the change, right? We like to see that's one way to measure, right? We'll take measurements, we'll do the eVolt scan, so you'll be able to see the before and after there for facts and data, but then you'll also be able to see the pictures as well. And then nutrition tracking. Of course, we'll be talking about nutrition in that first appointment. We'll be going over what you're currently doing. We have goal to action. I have these goal to action forms here, right? And you're gonna do the same thing you just did tonight. You're gonna write down what is my short-term goal, and what do I, in 90 days, what do I wanna accomplish in 90 days? And then what do I wanna accomplish in a year? And then we'll break it down into habits, okay? So this is what I struggle with, this is my goal for the week, and then how are we gonna break it down and what you're gonna practice for that the next 2 weeks, because in this challenge we meet every other week. We're gonna have education on portion size, meal prep, hunger cues, macros. Every week, like I said, there's gonna be a different topic inside of there, and the lessons are amazing, so don't miss out on those. Make sure you turn on your notifications so you get those lessons every day. Sometimes I know the app is kind of finicky with notifications, so just maybe set a reminder on your phone to check in on the app every day. In there you can message me directly, so just message inside there if you have any questions. I'll be there to help you answer anything. You can send pictures, you can do everything, just like text. And then community support, right? You're gonna have each other to support each other. You'll have me, you'll have the coaches will be participating as well that work here. So, and then of course the winner will win $1,000. So the one that loses the most body fat in the challenge will win $1,000. So who doesn't want to do that? It's like the best challenge ever. So it all starts Sunday. So check your app on Sunday. Sunday's the first lesson. And then it ends, I believe it's on a Saturday. I believe August 15th is a Saturday. And the week before the 15th is when we'll do our final eVolt scan, so you can compare the difference, so we can see the change. Okay, any questions about the challenge?
It's gonna be great.
Record timing, 30 minutes. All right, did I miss anything?
For the bi-weekly coach
Yes.
things, those are just one-on-one,
Yes.
and we set those up, we schedule them, do we schedule them through the app or just with you directly?
With me directly. So if I haven't set up one with you yet for next week, then let's set up one tonight. And then at our appointments every week, we'll set up the next one so we don't forget. It's a great question.
Are you doing all of us?
I am doing all of
Okay.
it. Yes. Anything else? I think I got all the details. Oh, here's the topic. So the first week will be nutrition tracking, because like I said, you're gonna see the best success, and we're gonna be able to work together better if I'm seeing what you're eating. Certain apps sync with My Coach, so like MyFitnessPal, Macros First, Chronometer are 3 of the top ones, but there's other ones that you can use. But those ones you can sync with My Coach, and then I'll be able to see your nutrition besides when I'm with you looking at your app. And then the next one will be portion sizes.
Do you have a question?
Yes.
Do you have which one of those do you have one that you prefer or rank? I feel like I haven't used any of those for a while.
Macros First is my favorite.
Macros First,
Yeah,
okay.
MyFitnessPal used to be my favorite, but now you have to pay for scanning foods.
Okay, that's what I've just heard. MyFitnessPal isn't as good, so.
Yeah.
But is
And
Macros First?
Macros First basically is like MyFitnessPal, but it's free.
Okay.
You can scan foods. So if you're using like a certain type of bread, you can just scan it and
Awesome.
track it, or some other type of food that, yeah. Chronometer is great too, it just is very, if you are a very fact or detail-oriented person, it will get like the nitty-gritty in there. So I think it gets a little more specific, like you can track alcohol and things like that. Any other questions?
Do you have recommendations on like eating before you work out or right after you work out?
Yeah,
or-
yeah, and that's actually one of the topics too in the
Oh, okay.
challenge. Yeah, it goes over that in week 10, I think.
Alright.
Yeah, oh no, it's week 7. But yeah, as far as that goes, so it's different, it's very different for a lot of people, right? If you work out first thing in the morning and you're fasted all night long, right? It's hard to get up an hour or two before you eat. And if you eat right away, like if you eat within a half hour of working out, sometimes it'll cause indigestion or like nausea because all of your blood is going to your muscles instead of digesting your food. And so it just sits there and it doesn't help you in the workout anyway, right? And so if you are working out fasted and you want to preserve your lean muscle mass, then drinking a BCAA or an EAA while you're working out is helpful. You can also drink your carbs too. We sell it here, it's a glycogen drink, like a straight muscle glycogen, glycogen-free muscles. So you can actually drink it. And it's great for people who want to bulk too. Those that want to, like Ben, especially that burn a lot of calories when they're working out, it's really good for them. Easy, not good, but easy.
Is it BCAA?
Branched chain amino acids,
Okay.
yeah, or essential amino acids. We sell both of those here too at First Form. They're basically just your essential amino acids that you get from protein, from meats and dairy and stuff like that, but they're just in a drink form. And that can help, so that can help with your working out fasted. If you're working out in the afternoon or later in the day, it's nice to have a meal before, as long as it's a couple hours before, so your body has time to process it before you go to the gym. But the one thing to eat before you work out, if you need food, is carbs. So if you need energy, or if you're hungry, eat carbs. Something simple, like some people like fruit, like a banana, half a banana or something. That's still harder. That is harder to break down. Fructose is harder to break down than a simple sugar like glucose. So finding something like toast but no butter, but that is hard to break down while you're working out. So just something with sugar in it, even if it's Skittles. So if you need energy. When you're on a long race, like you know those soccer players have Skittles in their pockets. I know from experience.
Or nerds gummy clusters, that's the other.
Or gummy
Yeah.
clusters, or something with sugar, because they need the energy, so, yeah. Well, did that answer your question?
Yes, thank you.
Okay. Any other questions? Yeah, so I was going over topics, so then we're gonna talk about reading nutrition labels, macronutrients, sugar intake, hunger awareness, then the pre and post workout nutrition, hydration, stress management, sleep and recovery, because that's super important, stress and sleep, right? And then talking about workout performance and setting PRs. And then then we'll talk about sustainable habits, and then maintaining life with all the things that you learned, family, travel, life, maintaining all this stuff through going forward after the challenge. So, okay. All right. Thank you all for coming. Thank you.